Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, Daniel chapter 1. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, or if you have any questions, you can email me at godsohman@gmail.com. Daniel 1, starting with verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, into Jerusalem and besieged it. Now what we're talking about here is Daniel, and you can see the arrow on top of the screen there. Right before him, obviously, was David. And there was about 400 years between David and Daniel. And during those 400 years, David had a son named Solomon. And Solomon had a son. And what he did is he was a very evil king. And he split Israel into two sections, a northern half and a southern half. The northern half was called Israel, and the southern half was called Judah. I believe Israel had 10 of the tribes, and Judah had 2 of the tribes, Judah and Benjamin. In the top part, Israel had about 20 kings, and for the most part, all 20 of them were bad. They were evil. On the bottom part, Judah had about 20 kings as well, and it was about 50-50. Half was good, half was bad. But he separated the kingdom of Israel into 2 different parts, at the top and the bottom. And so this right here, the area that's where Israel is. You can see over here Babylon. And here's Ur of the Chaldeans. Ur is like modern day Iraq. That's where, if you remember Saddam Hussein, that's where he came from. And so King Nebuchadnezzar is going to come from Babylon into Israel, and that's what's going to happen in the story right here. It's about a 900+ mile walk. It's going to take a very, very long time to get there, obviously. And if you go to 2 Kings 23, it talks about Jehoiakim, who was the king of the place in Israel right now. It said, "And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, and every one of them according to his taxation, to give it to whatever that name is." Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebudah, and his daughter, Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father has done. A lot of people, they mean to do good. It doesn't really matter if you mean to do good. It matters what the Lord thinks. And this guy here says he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Daniel 1, verse 2. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of his house of God, which he carried to the land of Shinar, into the house of his God, and he brought the vessels into the treasure houses of his God. So Jehoiakim was basically the king. He took all the vessels, all the silvers and the plates and everything like that, and he took them and he put them in the storehouses. If you go to 2 Chronicles 36, it also talks about Jehoiakim. It says Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he bound him in feathers to carry him to Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar came all the way from Babylon to Israel, and he took this king and he put him in feathers. So he tied him up, he put him on a pole, carried him back to Babylon because he was taking it over. And against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in feathers to carry him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon and put them in the temple of Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar took all these bowls and plates and knives and forks out of these storehouses, and he took them to Babylon, and he put them in the temple in Babylon. And that's going to come up later in the chapter. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and his abominations which he did, which were found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And if you want to read about the kings, 1 and 2 Samuel, First and Second Kings and First and Second Chronicles, is going to cover these 300 plus years between David and Daniel, and it's going to talk about the northern kingdoms and the southern kingdoms and everything that happened. Back in Daniel 1, verse 3. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes. It's very possible that Daniel could have been one of the king's seed. He could have maybe possibly become king after his father passed away. We're not exactly quite sure of that. Children of whom there was no blemish, but well favored, the skilful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and such had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and to whom they might teach the learning in the tongue of the Chaldeans. So Nebuchadnezzar came to Israel, and he was looking for a certain people. He was looking for children with no blemish. That means they were good looking. They were well favored, so the people liked them a lot. They were skillful in wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science. So he's one of these really intelligent kids who are good looking. People like them. They have some kind of a charismatic personality to them. And then it says they had the ability to stand in front of the king's palace. You don't want to make the king look bad. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of wisdom and knowledge, but they have no social skills. And there's people that have social skills, but they don't have a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge. This king is looking for somebody that has the social skills and the knowledge and can make him look good. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, of which the wine which he drunk, and nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. So the idea is, the king's going to give these kids meat and wine, different kind of things, and he wants these kids to get big and strong. He's nourishing them for 3 years because he wants these kids to learn the way of the Chaldeans. He basically wants them to integrate in society and basically be one of them. As a lot of you guys know that my channel is kind of based on, going against evolution and teaching people what the Bible really says and teaching them facts and knowledge. And what Nebuchadnezzar does is he finds children. It doesn't say that he finds adults. It doesn't say that he finds, people that are older. He finds the kids. And he finds out that if he can attack the kids, they're going to grow up thinking this is normal. And a lot of times in our school system, they teach kids things so they hope one day they think this is normal. Because if you have people with some life experience, they know actually the truth. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And throughout the rest of Daniel, or really the first couple chapters, you're only going to see these four boys mentioned. Daniel, who's basically the main person of this book of Daniel. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which later, they get their names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drunk. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So you have to understand that the Babylonians would take this meat and this wine, and they'd worship it up to their gods. They would ask for these gods to give them blessings and stuff like that. And Daniel didn't want to defile himself because he loved the Lord. He didn't want to eat this food that was prayed over to for idols. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. I tell people all the time, I don't want you guys to cause strife with people. I don't want you guys to fight with people. I want you to love them. There's a missionary idea called the Roman road method, which you love people into God. A lot of people that don't believe in God, they will never set foot in a church, but they'll talk to you every single day. So you need to sit there and show love and compassion. You need to show them understanding. If somebody asks you a question, no matter how crazy and offensive it is, you got to try the best you can to come at the question with love. And Daniel had favor and love with this prince of the eunuchs. This prince of the eunuchs really cared about Daniel because Daniel wasn't fighting him all the time. He was very respectful. He really wanted to understand. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear for my lord the king, who has appointed you meat and your drink. For why should you see your faces worse likened than the children of which are your sword? Then he shall make me endanger my head to the king. So this prince of the eunuchs is saying, Daniel, I get what you're saying. I understand you want these certain things. But Nebuchadnezzar has told me you got to drink the meat, you have to eat the meat and drink the wine. Because I'm afraid if you don't eat the meat and drink the wine, you're going to be malnourished. You're not going to look as good as all these other kids that came over here. And if that happens, he's going to come after me, and my life will be in danger. And then said Daniel to Meshach, the prince of the eunuchs, who set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So Daniel's saying, look, Mr. Eunuch guy, I understand what you're saying, but let me give you a counterpoint. He said, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let him give us pulse to eat and water to drink. And pulse is just basically vegetables, because nobody really blesses their vegetables. They only bless the meat and the wine. So he's like, give me these vegetables. So he's like, prove us. Give us vegetables for 10 days and water to drink, just for 10 days. See if this is going to work for us. If after 10 days we don't look good, we look malnourished, we'll go ahead and we'll do what you want to do, and we'll eat the meat, we'll drink the wine. But give us 10 days. And then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and thou seest, deal with thy servants. So Daniel's saying, give us 10 days of eating vegetables and water, and then look upon us, look upon the other children that are here. And you can decide if we are healthy looking or if we're actually pretty strong. And no matter what you say, that's how we're going to go about it. The way you see it, that's how you could deal with us. If we look bad, you can punish us. If we look good, you let us keep doing this. And so he consented unto them this matter, and he proved them for 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. So after these 10 days, they actually looked healthier than the rest of the children. Then Melzar, who was the king of the eunuchs, he took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse or gave them vegetables. So he's like, your experiment worked. I'm not going to make you eat this meat and this wine. Here's your vegetables and your water. You just keep up the good work. And as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill and all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and in dreams. So for whatever reason, I think there was around 2,000 kids that went to Babylon, if you look at the records. And of those 2,000 kids, only 4 of them actually said, we're going to follow God and not Nebuchadnezzar. And because of that, these 4 children got extra knowledge and extra skill and all learning and wisdom. And Daniel, he's their leader. He gets a little extra. He also gets understanding and vision and dreams. And now at the end of the days, which is the end of the 3 years, that the king has said should bring them in, and the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. So after this 3-year period of training them on the ways of the Babylonians, the eunuch brings the 4 boys in to see Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and amongst them all were found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore they stood before the king. So the king was just shocked. He's like, these 4 guys, there's something about them. They're special. They're more intelligent. They have more skills. They're more charismatic. There's something really special, and nobody I've ever seen has been like these 4 boys. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding, as the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in his realm. So the king had these magicians and astronomers that would interpret his dreams for him, tell him the weather, tell him prophecy, what's going to happen in the future. He used these people for understanding of what's going to happen. And it says here, these 4 boys were in all matters of wisdom and understanding, they were 10 times better than his most trusted magicians and astrologers. And Daniel continued even into the first year of King Cyrus. So Daniel and these 4 boys did a great job, and they continue being good servants. Well, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions for me, you can send me an email, but you can also comment below. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, share, tell your friends about it. At the bottom right down there, I'm going to put down the Daniel Bible study. Obviously, this is the first one of the series, but you'll be able to go in the future. You'll be able to click that and see, 2 through, whatever the rest of them are. The top left, I'm going to put up there probably the Exodus Bible study. And on the bottom left, I'm going to put a video that YouTube thinks you guys want to see. I don't know what it's going to be. Usually it's the video I posted last, which is the end of Exodus. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, just let me know. Have a great day.